Hello, everyone. Welcome to the interviewing video. Today, I am going to go over a couple of quick reminders, show you a model interview with a special guest, and then I'm going to go over some different questions you can think about when it comes to reflecting on your interview. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at some of those reminders before we find out who our special guest is. All right, so let's take a look at these interview reminders. You want to make sure that you have your questions ready. In the example I'm going to share with you in just a second, you'll see that I have put my questions up on the screen so you all can follow along with my questions as I complete the interview. Next, you're going to want to probably take notes or record your interview just so you can keep track of some of the information that you learn about your interviewee. You'll see me in the video recording some brief notes under each question. These notes do not have to be word for word what the person's saying. It can just be the general idea of what it is that they're talking about. Taking notes and recording your interview is optional, but this is really what real interviewers do for newspapers and magazines to help them write what they're going to write once they're finished with the interview. Next, you're going to want to actively listen to the person you're talking to. Make eye contact with them. Nod your head so that they know you're listening, and making sure you're using those big third-grade ears and not getting distracted by things going on around you. Next, it's super important for you to show gratitude to the person that you're talking to. So make sure you thank your interviewee. This can happen at the beginning of your interview or at the end of your interview. But they're donating a lot of their time to you to share some personal information, so make sure that you say thank you. Next reminder is to be flexible with your questions. In the example, you'll see how I didn't go exactly by the questions that I wrote. I got a feel for how the conversation was going, and I was able to change those questions as I needed to. So be flexible. Don't let it stress you out. Last reminder is to reflect on what you've learned. So once you have your questions in front of you and once you have completed your interview, we want you to take some time to reflect on this experience. You will not be turning in your interview to us. You will not be turning in your notes to us. But what we would like for you to submit to your teacher this week are some answers to 4 reflection questions that you'll see at the end of this video. Those questions are also on the parent materials guide for this week. So, are you ready to find out who my special guest was for our model interview? Let's take a look. All right. Well, joining me right now, I have Miss Gibaldi. She's here to tell us a little bit about her teaching experiences and her journey to how she found us at Cold Harbor. Hi, Miss Gibaldi.
Hi, Miss McCray. How are you today?
I'm doing great, especially now that I get to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Of course. Well, we're excited to get to know you a little bit better. And should we just dive in?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Perfect. All right. So we know that you're a teacher and that you love teaching, but could you tell us about some of the reasons that you decided that you wanted to be a teacher?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was younger, I really loved reading and writing in school, and I had some really awesome teachers that just inspired me to love learning. And I think I definitely carried that with me, and it just became a dream of mine to kind of inspire students to share that same love of learning and get excited about all the things we can do at school.
And when would you say that you kind of had that dream first pop into your head, that this was what you wanted to do?
So funny enough, I started off with the dream of being an author because, again, I loved reading and writing. I thought that was my dream. But as I got a little older, and especially towards high school, it kind of started to become clear for me that I didn't just want to focus on my love for those things. I wanted to share it and inspire others as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm just taking a couple notes while we chat. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I think that a lot of teachers feel that way too. You know, you find this love for learning and you want to make sure that you can pass that on to more people so that there's more people in the world who feel the way you do about books and writing and language arts in general. I think that's great.
Yes, definitely. I had some really awesome teachers. My 3rd grade teacher in particular, Miss Merritt, shout out to her, was just an amazing lady. And I really think about her all the time. She's been such a source of inspiration for me in this job.
That's great. And, you know, everybody has a wonderful memory about a teacher at some point that inspires them. So I love
Definitely.
that. Awesome. Well, we'll just move right along here. So I know that you went to West Virginia University. Woohoo. And then you found your way down to North Carolina. So how did you end up in North Carolina after school in West Virginia?
So when I was finishing up college in West Virginia, I was looking towards being a teacher, and I had some family ties in North Carolina. So that's kind of how I first ended up there. And I spent 2 years there, 2 great years. But the goal was always to move here to Virginia, actually. So had a great experience, but I'm really thankful to be here now.
Fantastic. So just to kind of build off of that, why was the goal to always end up here in Virginia?
Good question. So growing up, I actually lived in Connecticut, but I had a lot of other family ties here in Virginia on both my mom and my dad's side. So we would typically spend our summer vacation here, either at Virginia Beach or a couple other places within the state. And I just really fell in love with it and have so many great memories here. And then as I got a little older, I had a cousin that attended VCU. So we spent a lot of time here in Richmond as well. That just always kind of gave me that dream to come be here with her.
Awesome. I love that. And VCU is such a fun place too. What a great way to get exposed to all the fun things that Richmond has to offer.
Yes, definitely. We had a lot of fun.
Good, good. Okay, so I want to take you back in your memories now, and I want you to kind of picture yourself in your very first classroom, and I want you to tell us what that classroom was like.
So I shared my very first classroom with my first group of kiddos. It was a 4th grade class, and at that time, my former school kind of had a few different buildings. So our building was strictly 4th and 5th grade. So it felt kind of personal over there, kind of secret. And we had a lot of fun. We got really close between the other classes and students, and just shared a lot of memories over there.
Speaking of memories, do you have a favorite memory from that school year?
Definitely. So like I've been saying about our building being kind of private, personal, the other 4th and 5th grade teachers and I kind of came together to celebrate our students and their hard work each week by initiating a dance party every Friday morning. So we would open up the hallway while we were kind of in our morning routine before the bell rang. And in that time period, we would have music going and we'd have friends out in the hallway and teachers out in the hallway. And that was kind of like our community time to come together and dance it out and be excited about all the hard work we put in through the week.
I love that.
Yeah, it was very unique. Maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but we had a lot of fun.
No, it reminds me in my cooperating classroom with my cooperating teacher while I was student teaching, we would dance it out every Friday afternoon, and like we'd put the music on, everybody was ready to go, and then we'd dance our way to the bus loop. And we'd like get on the buses dancing.
Yes, you guys would have gotten along really well with my group over there. We loved to dance. Not that we were very good at it, but it was always fun.
I love that. We need to start something like that in the future at Cold Harbor too.
We should. I know some of our tutors probably have some dance moves. They could probably teach me a thing or two.
Oh yes, they're always busting a move in my classroom, so I'm sure they are in yours too.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, talking about always wanting to make it to Virginia, you did this year and you found us at Cold Harbor. So can you tell us how you came to be at Chess and join us in Hanover?
Yes, so when came the time to move and things started falling into place that way, I just got really interested in Cold Harbor in particular because I'd heard such great things and had met some really amazing people from our staff. And I did face some challenges, coming to a new state and a new school and learning to be a teacher in a new grade level. But I had such a warm welcome here and really had so much support from the staff and from you guys on the 3rd grade team, as well as our families. So it was a really exciting transition. You know, I'm thankful it's all kind of come together at this point.
For sure. And I know, like, on top of moving, finding a new job must have been so tricky at the same time. So were you having to commute back and forth between Virginia and North Carolina during that job hunt period?
Yes, yes, that was definitely a crazy time. Where I lived in North Carolina was about 4 hours from here, so I was spending a lot of commute time back and forth, as well as a lot of time on the phone trying to make connections and interview and figure things out with the move as well. So I'm thankful that it slowed down a little bit. It was definitely kind of a wild time.
I believe it. So then I guess you all moved up here after your school year ended. And so you were moving into a new place and getting settled as the school year was kind of all getting started too.
Yes, yes. So big times. Over the summer, you know, thankfully we kind of had a little bit of time to settle into our apartment first and then, you know, focus in on the school year. But it was kind of crazy because I had, you know, my apartment dedicated to my stuff, and then I had a whole section of my apartment that was all of my teacher supplies. So it was kind of like my apartment was a classroom for the greater half of the summer.
Right. And now here we are again, where our apartments are our classroom again.
Yes.
There you go. Full circle. Oh my goodness. Well, that's so interesting. Well, we're happy that you were able to make that all work and that you were able to come and find us. I think that
Thank you.
Thank you. Very lucky to have you.
I feel very lucky to be here. It's been a great experience so far.
Good, good.